meeting has been live streamed. Got it. Vijay, are we good to start?
Hey, yes, Sanjay, I think it's really good to start. So, Sanjay, thank you so much for joining in and helping our group and this community, which is really growing day by day, month by month. Unfortunately, today being a long holiday or something like that, people are less. However, we generally get a lot of people in this particular session. So, thank you so much, especially talking about an evolutionary approach up to level 3 of maturity. That's a really great coverage. If you can do it today, that would be really awesome. I myself, being one of the oldest AKTs and doing a lot of transformations, I really believe in Kanban a lot. And I believe that people whom I've spoken to till now, or I have trained a lot of people or certified a lot of people in that, I have seen that the real meaning of Kanban was really understood by hardly about 5 to 10%, I would say. And 90% of the people just believe that it's just a board, which is an absolute misunderstanding. And I would say that not much effort was being done by the conferences or people like us, and hence people do not have much of information about it. So thank you so much, Sanjay, once again. And I would like you to please switch on your facilitator mode. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Vijay. So, okay, then in that case, we can get started. So, hello, everyone. My greetings to all of you. Few people, good evening, few early good evening, and then Murli and Margaret, both of you, good morning to you. So in next few minutes, I will be attempting to share my experience with you in regards with this particular topic. What is this topic? Why specific this particular naming convention? It's going to be like a case study, and I'll be very open. It's like an experience report that I have been implementing from 3.5 years now in 3 different clients. So, and we have got some sort of success journey over a period of time. So from now, as I said, until next 45 minutes or maybe 40 minutes, imagine yourself as a project manager or a scrum master or a Kanban professional who joined a pharma organization, right? And have been asked to run an implementation. It can be digital implementation, you called a project, you called a program, it's up to you based on the context, but then you joined as a project manager or a scrum master or a Kanban professional, someone who is a process keeper, at the same time, someone who is a professional who knows about the process and who can run certain events at the same time, keeping the certain principles intact. What are those principles? We will see those, right? So it's just not the process per se. So I would say it's a good thing that we have a very small, beautiful crowd. So you can have your pen and handy ready. So I'll do a quick time check 30 minutes from now. So just in case if you have any questions, if there are good, awesome questions, I'll try to give a logical end after 45 minutes as well. But then if there are no questions, I'll keep on going for the next 45 minutes. But then yes, have a pen and handy with you. Okay, so this is the story, as I said, which I'm calling as a from crawl to walk and then in pursuit of run, in which I should say we are still evolving and coming up with better ways of working using Kanban. So this story revolves around an in-house division of the pharmaceutical plant and how this in-house division, which is currently helping manufacturing plant in achieving the business agility via tapping time to market by serving customer needs, right? So in coming slides, we will go through how this division conceptualized the whole idea of Kanban. And they came up from a loss-making division to a profit-making decisions, right? So I'm explicitly calling out the problem statement is not to just have a board or not, it's not important to just to measure lead time, throughput. It's important that we understand whatever we are doing from organization perspective, the idea is to achieve business agility, right? So that we can sustain in this competitive era at the same time in this particular era in which most organizations are not able to sustain. So that's why I'm focusing on achieving business agility. And it could be anything. right? So that's why business agility by serving the customer need. That's most important. Now, a quick background here. As I said, this is the in-house division, right? The division born back in 2017. This division is serving few APAC markets, right? Southeast Asia side. And this particular division is producing some powders, for example, right? And those powders can be used to manufacture certain medicines. So because this plant has a dependency outside different vendors, and we wanted to cut short that whole time to market, what we did, we open up our own in-house division that can manufacture bottom core raw material so that we can cut down the whole price, right? So that's why this particular division has born. Now we all love structures, right? Because we are coming from maybe a project management background or maybe some sort of traditional background. We love structures, right? So this is how the structure looks like of this plan. We have some sponsors, there are project managers, there are plant managers who are supporting. There is a SLT, right? Senior leadership team. And somewhere at the right hand side, you can see that's where I am because I'm supporting as a project management office. I'm a PMO guy. So that division look at me as a PMO person who knows Kanban. That's how me and my team got introduced in this project, right? So that's typically the project structure or org structures looks like. Okay, what is this? So if you have worked in any pharmaceutical or I would say any manufacturing plant, you would know most of the time they say it's a catalog, the service catalogs that has hell lot of things that we are providing to the customers. Back then, so right now this is how the catalog looks like today as on 2022, but almost 5 years back, it was only consisting of one offering. And we are saying a synthesis as a service. You can say just a service name could be anything, right? But now I'm using a literally example, right? If you type synthesis space manufacturing powder, you will see a lot of machines and the exact replica that we have something similar in our plant. But then to keep the discussion very simple, it could be any service that started back in 2017 and how we were able to evolve in just that service, right? And that particular service consists of 60 to 70 doctors, some scientists, some automation engineers, because we have to run the plant, right? So we need those mechanical civil engineers, right? So who are running this particular service. On an average, this particular synthesis team itself is somewhere between 80. So that's with that thought process, this particular division started, just one thing. And today we are having, let's say, 5 services. It means 580 times 5, almost like this particular division is a very good size of 500 people, which has almost like 150, 200 doctors, and then few number of engineers and so on and so forth. We are just going to keep our discussions only up to the synthesis. That's the first row, as you can see. Okay, basics. Portfolio. What do you mean by portfolio? I just want to quick check if, okay. Do you guys able to see the chat screen? Chat window. If you can just type why portfolio. What is portfolio? We may be knowing, but then why? Not sure if you're able to see my comment. I'll put a chat, a sample chat.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, you can see, right? Okay, nice.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Just type one word or 2 words. Why we need a portfolio? Why? Not what, why? Any 1 or 2 words. If you write 3 words, it's good. If you're like able to write one statement, it's good. But let's keep it simple, short. Wow. Thank you, Shiva. Portfolio aggregated projects. Okay. Thank you, Harry. Divide and conquer. Wow. Maybe we have someone from leadership team sitting here. Budgeting. Okay. Nice. Also having scaling, group of functionality. Nice. Hash says scaling. Okay, great. So thank you for giving these suggestions. It means I'm going to spend less time. So when we did this similar workshop, just to understand why this particular division is doing not good, we wanted to understand what is their understanding of the portfolio. We gave a lot of suggestions in that 1 hour of meeting, did this workshop just to understand why. So in a nutshell, we figure out there are three things which folks are looking for. First of all, value, because we wanted to set the predictability. When I said value, value is not specifically about the dollar value. If someone is going to ask you that, hey, when you can deliver this, they are looking for a predictability, right? And when you say I'm 50% sure, it says something about your capability that, okay, you are at least 50% sure, good thing. If you say I'm 10% sure, okay, it means you have to do something about your process. So that's why there is a one core purpose of this portfolio. I'm looking for a value, and this value is not a dollar value. This value is all about how beautifully you can commit, you can make promise to your customers so that we can deliver. Right now, that has gone for a toss. That's why that was the biggest part. Why this portfolio is not doing well. Number two, left side. Look at the left side. Alignment. We are doing something, but for somehow we have no idea what our organization objectives are. So I think Shiva said the very nice thing that we wanted to align with the strategy. So that's why most of the people when joined this particular division, they had no idea why we are doing and what the strategy is coming from the higher ups. So that's the second ask. Look at the right-hand side, bottom right, supply and demand. Whenever we talk about portfolio, it means we are aggregating the projects. I think someone said this point already. So we wanted to make sure there is an awesome balance. Now, if you are a part of a team and when you think that there is so much of work, I'm swamped so much of work, there is so much of work is coming up, it says there is something wrong. And could be some days and some months when we are working, when there is no work and we are spending our time playing Candy Crush or whatever, right? Maybe Instagram or something. So there is some sort of frustration in the organization when they were saying that sometimes we have a lot of work, sometimes we have less work. We have fully no understanding what we are doing. Okay. Now back in 2017, we started on a, give me a second. Okay, we started on a very great note, right? We set up the portfolio, we understood why aspect, we pretty much understood everything. And we started, all were getting appreciated, right? Because we were able to fulfill some demands, right? And then over a period of time, we were kind of rocking because we were delivering, and this is how we were thinking we were doing, right? So good experience. And then something happened, things were not the same as it was started, right? So what went wrong? Let's have a glance. So when we started scaling up, when slowly we hiring more and we started taking up more orders, we realized that customers were kept on waiting for a delivery. And what we delivered came to us saying that it's a spoiled delivery. We have adopted Amazon's shipping model. Now, we all know that, right? Sometimes when we order something we don't like, we just claim that we want to refund and we want to return back. We thought that we will give something similar in selling and buying the powders. And then customers were enjoying left, right, center because they can 100% claim. So basically, our product delivered, they did not like it, it came back to us. So all this costing, if you try to multiply it by number of months, number of times, number of frustrated customers, it was skyrocketing, right? Now, let's take one more different perspective. When we were delivering a faulty delivery, and that has resulted triggering return of shipment. And this has resulted more request, re-request, and that has resulted more work to do. More work, more pressure. When there is a more pressure, we are making more mistakes. When we are making more mistakes, you got it, right? Vicious cycle. So things are not stopping. It's just like an infinite karma loop, right? So something that is not happening. And when we were asked to showcase our reports, how we are doing, we suddenly came from that Tony Stark thingy to this particular view when our numbers stopped matching. Because this is all about selling, this is all about supply and demand of a powder in a manufacturing firm. And we had no idea whether there are demands coming up. If there are so much of demand, are we able to supply? Vice versa. Okay, we immediately stopped everything and we wanted to understand where we are making mistakes, right? We ran a workshop, and that's how the result of the workshop looks like if you see. We wanted to understand what we are doing. We had an understanding from a customer's side. We wanted to hear what is the voice of customer. They were very much frustrated because of the spoiled deliveries. As you can see, there's a sticky note which they kept. And they said that for even a small consignment or a shipment, you guys are taking so much of delivery time. So much of waiting time is there. That's how the customer was kind of, grinding us. Look at the teams, whatever teams are saying. Now, teams are saying, first of all, there is so much of overwork. Quality check has gone for a toss. There is a third party vendor who is supporting us QA when we supply those order to them for do some testing, and there is an SLA of 2 days or 3 days, they are returning back within 1 week time. So something is wrong, right? At the same time, demand and forecasting is not working the way it should. In a nutshell, there was a more noise coming from internal team for the first time when compared to the customers. Now, if I try to summarize what has happened, right, in last 10 minutes, as I said, more noise coming from inside organization when compared to the customers. We did a lot of back and forth discussions just to understand what is happening, and it was agreed that we wanted to decommission this in-house division. We no more want this, right? And then we agreed that, okay, going forward, when we wanted to really close this particular division, we still have some demands. Let's try to finish those demands in next 1 or 2 quarters, and eventually we will decommission. Now, as you can see on my screen, that I'm still talking about the challenges: low morale, overwork, spoiled deliveries, longer delivery time. This is my story about this particular implementation. You may want to run something similar in your organization, and just to understand what internal folks are saying, what external folks are saying, and then you try to understand why these challenges are coming. I'm not even talking about providing solutions. I'm just talking about, do we acknowledge, first of all, there is a problem, right? That's the first thing. And then this is first 15, 20 minutes. That's what I'm talking about, only a problem and acknowledging that there is a problem. There is always a problem, but people don't acknowledge, right? That's the bigger problem, right? So I want to make sure that, first of all, whatever exercise you guys want to do, maybe from Monday or Tuesday onwards with your team, just have a random conversation, understand what's happening, start noting down, run 30 minutes of retrospective, and see if there is if you see something similar what you see right now on my screen. Okay, this is setting up a stage with a problem with this particular division. Now here comes the solution part. I will not say solution, but it's a recommendation, because what I'm going to recommend next 15 minutes, initially it has not even worked for us. It worked over a period of time, a lot of experiments that we ran. That's why I'm calling this particular whole conversation as an evolutionary journey. It's not like a cookie cutter that I'll give you that, guys, do these 3 things, you will succeed. There is no such thing, because we failed, and I'm telling very openly, right? So that's why a few suggestions that came. Here it comes. So myself and few of my team members, we were there on the shop floor. We wanted to understand, because we wanted to close anyways this division 6 months from now. We wanted to have a conversations with the team just to understand that, guys, can we see your work? And when we asked them that, can we see your work? This is what the initial model that they have showed us, right? Of course, manufacturing plant have a different view of looking the data. But then in a nutshell, if they have been asked that, okay, how much work that you have, what is about the total supply, what is about the total supply and then demand, this is what they have shown us back then, right? This is something that is happening the beginning of 2017. We were asking them that if there is any specific thing, if they look this data and they are able to visualize, what do they visualize, right? That's our question, right? What do we visualize when we see any board? You want to see your Jira board, see the board, and are you able to visualize certain things which from the Kanban principle is trying to talk about? What are those, right? Are you able to see the things that are moving from left to right? Are you able to talk about dependencies? Are you able to talk about health? When I say health of your process, if more number of work is kind of stuck somewhere at the middle, that is what it's talking about, your process health, not your team health, not individual health, your process health. Because this data, which is there in front of you, it says so many things. So in a nutshell, whatever data that you have right now in your Jira, have a glance and see if there is any anomaly or any perception that you can come up with and say that, are you able to say that it's good enough, or are you able to say that, no, there is still a room for improvement? right? So when we said this, we wanted to tell them that, okay, we are talking about visualizing, which is whatever board that you have right now, let's start from that. We don't wanted to make so much of change just because we know more than you guys, right? It was nothing like that. We wanted to make sure that there is a board that reveals the system, right? And we wanted to make sure that let's proceed with what you guys have already right now. So, and then eventually, if those guys have any suggestions, we wanted to empower them and we wanted to tell them that, okay, we are hearing you. Because those are the engineers, almost like a 60 plus, and we all agree that the intellectual of 60 plus staff member is way more than one or two kanban professionals who are totally new in this whole era and talking and sharing some knowledge, right? Those 60 plus people intellectual is way more advanced or way more solid, right? So it's better we ran a workshop, we wanted to understand what they are talking, right? And then that's where we started visualizing if they have any other evidence. Now, this is what they've shown to us. This is their project status. This is what the different SDLC processes that they are going through. We started learning it, right? Because there was no way that we want to tell them that, no, this is too much for us to absorb. For first few weeks, we became them so that there is a understanding of a trust, so that they understand that, okay, we are also understanding their language. So we started following this kind of Gantt chart for first few days, first few weeks, so that they will eventually will be able to open up. And then in one of the retrospective, this is what we said. We wanted to make sure that when we talk about visualization, our engineering team is able to see the end-to-end result. Right now, what is that? What is the message that we are trying to draw here, right? So, end of the day, no customer visualize nuts and bolts. We will all agree that, right? We all visualize a car, a working car, right? That's the value, right? So, if I tell you that where is the value in this picture, I'm sure you're going to say that somewhere at the right hand side because it's a car, right? Although it has some nuts and bolts, but that's something. It's a value. Right? There is no point at the left-hand side that I'm going to say that, okay, this is the value. Now, from the Kanban perspective, I'm trying to talk about the system thinking approach. And it's important to understand that the level of visualization we get just by looking the board. So the board itself is not like a tracking mechanism. It is the Kanban 101 where it leads all the conversations. If your Kanban doesn't give that level of transparency, if it doesn't say that much of information, I think whatever you are doing, then anything that you are doing is always a good thing, right? So that's what we wanted to understand and we wanted to convey to them. What else? Soon after this, we ran a workshop in which we wanted to understand more details from them, because now there has been a trust formed that we are totally into the team dynamics, so that when we are talking and walking with them on the floor, they started sharing more details, because it was not difficult for us. It was very difficult for us for the first few days because they look at as an IT guys, right? And IT guys don't know much about the pharmaceutical process, which is right to say. So we first closed that bridge, ran this workshop, and this is what they gave to us. Because it's a firm, it's planned, they are very big fan of value stream thought process. So as you can see, this is one of the outcomes from the retrospective we had. Value added things they have shared, non-value added, and then eventually essential, but still non-value add, right? Furthermore, we ran some similar activities so that they will be able to share with us more information. Now, towards the top left-hand side, as you can see, is the value stream, and followed by, we wanted to understand the time they are spending end to end. We just wanted to understand the process efficiency. Let me put it that way, very simple, right? And then we wanted to understand that, do we understand the different requests they are getting, different uh, uh, the customer request that they are getting, because all the requests are different. Do we understand about our customers? First of all, that's where a little bit of design thinking comes in picture, right? Because we are talking about numerous customers where we are, it's not like one customer we understood and then same sort of solution we will give to all, right? Because the powder mechanism, maybe it sounds like a simple problem. We're just producing the powders, but then the different types of powder, if I open up the synthesis catalog itself, we have almost like 200 and plus different types of powder that we produce. Different temperature distinguish, different the humidity it distinguish, different level of dryness, different level of smell. So based on it, there are 200 different types of powder within the synthesis I'm talking here. That is why it was very much important for us to understand, is there a process laid down? Did we understand the different requests we are coming? Where is the process? Where does it say that all the checks and balance have been done? Where is that checklist? So that is where at the bottom left-hand side, we put some sort of emphasis. And then we because we are talking about process effectiveness, we have focused more on the value stream aspect. Now, when I'm talking about the value stream, our focus was not on improving the future states. Our focus was to understand our current state right now, right? When I'm talking about the current state, we asked them to share some more data. Now, for example, as you can see here, what do we see? If you see some requests they are getting here, and this is the May month, they got 20 requests. They have shipped 5. They have shipped 5. How many defects they have received? 2. Now, first of all, out of 20, we shipped 5. And out of 5, the defects raised 2. So it means out of 20, only 3 were kind of successful deliveries. Look at this percentage that we are talking here in the month of May, right? Now, this is the data that they have shared with us. This has helped us a lot to understand the core problem, why someone was saying that we no more need this division. Now look at this. Now, over a period of time, when you see that this graph is kind of broadening, right? Not narrowing down, broadening. It means there is a more number of work which team is not able to process. In our system, the system started stinking because of a lot of technical debt from an IT perspective. The system started stinking because there are a lot of things which are blocked and we are not able to process. If I speak in terms of the Kanban perspective, it's about we have started all the requests, right? So instead of start finishing, we did the vice versa, so that we wanted to cater more customers. So this was one feedback or one finding that I'm putting up here, and this is the second finding. The more broadening this it means not good. Let me put it that way. If these lines are kind of parallelly, it means you are able to ship at the same time you are able to onboard more requests, and then you are able to ship. So if you see a parallel line going together, it's a mark of a good thing. If you see it's broadening, something is wrong, right? So that's a simple understanding of a CFD. Now, based on all these understandings that we had, we have introduced our next board because we wanted to understand that the initial board that they have shared, it has a very high level of data. Now look at this. This was their board, which is very much transparent on the floor. This is the board, which is transparent on the board. And when we ask them that, guys, do you know about your process? And this is what they have given to us. Give me a second. I will try to bring that slide one more time. Now look at this. Look at this value stream, right? In the Kanban visual, when I talk about the board, let's not talk about Kanban, right? Let's talk about that board. The board has only 4 or 5 columns. But when we asked them to create a value stream, they were giving so much of details here, right? And when we asked them to, where are the data? How's the data look like? They started giving this data to us. Now, how we are able to map this data with that visualization, what they have shown, we were not able to connect the dots. And then we asked that, is there a way that we can full-fledged put all the process in a proper way so that we can have the proper look of each and every steps that we guys are doing? And then this is what they have shown to us. We have created this during the workshop because we wanted to understand, first of all, do we understand the process? Yes, we all understand the process. Then why it was not made visual, right? So that if there are any things which are moving from across all these stages, so far, we are not able to make very good decisions because we don't know at one particular request is stuck at which level. So that's where we said that, okay, let's try to follow at least this thought process, what you see on my screen. And then we said that how many different types of requests we are getting. They said we have only one type of request, and we agreed. Of course, we have to, right? And then we said that if there is a way that we can start tracking, now we all big fan of lead times, right? Calculating the cycle times. We want to make sure that when we are getting the data in the system and when we are pushing it out to the customers, we want to track that. And hence this particular proposal came. And we said that we have 2 months of time to run all this experiment. So let's revisit 1 week from now and see if you guys are able to digest this. And then we close our discussion. We all came out and we let them work on this board and see if they are able to digest this particular board, because it's a different, we are asking so much of data. And then we took a pause for a 1 or 2. And then in the next retrospective, we again came and we started telling them that, do you guys have any feedback? And then they started saying that we need some sort of collaboration where we come and talk about with all of us plus few stakeholders. This is what they said, which means they're asking for some meetings, which means they're asking for a cadence, which means there has to be a formal opportunity where they can meet and talk about their to the stakeholders. Based on the request, based on the suggestions they gave in the retrospective, here is the next visualization based on their suggestion we created. Now, once again, I'll try to highlight, we are not giving the suggestions. They are the only one who are giving the suggestions. We are just asking the questions so that they will have that kind of thought-provoking understanding that, yeah, we can do something similar. Why not? Let's do that, right? So now this is the board 3.0. This is the third version. First, you have seen with the 4 columns. Second, you have seen with a few columns, but only lead times and cycle times capturing. Now, in this view, we are still asking them, hey teams, hey engineers, what kind of request you are getting? And then they said, we are getting new requests. We are getting only one type of request. Again, we believed, right? And we said that, okay, you're looking for some sync up times, right? Okay, when do you want to sync up? They said that when we are onboarding some request, we wanted to have a sync up with some of the stakeholders. We added this meeting and we started calling it as a feedback loop. And then so and so forth, right? And then as you can see here, you can still see what we added here. We added some of the pull criteria. We added the WIP limit, which was there. And then we added the black stickies are nothing but the feedback opportunities, right? We ran again one more retrospective just to understand what they are doing and how they are doing. Now, this is the next board, next visuals that comes in picture. And now they are saying that, you know what? We realize that we are treating our one type of request with the same workflow. That is why most of our tickets, which you can see, let me show here, got stuck here. Now look at here. Look at this portion. Because they said that we are processing only one type of request, which means if there is a one type of request, there will be a one type of workflow. And then that's where they said that, you know what, let's make some changes because there are different type of requests. Not all the requests will follow the same workflow. Based on their feedback, again, our next version of board came. Now, this is where we started telling them, oh, okay, it means you guys have the different class of service. And then that's where we said that, oh, different class of service means different level of offerings that we have, right? They will be treating the work based on the need of the work. Now, for example, new request anyways will go left to right, all the process like sequential. If they're working on any ticket which has been tagged as a QC failed, it not necessary to go risk analysis. It need not to necessary to go the review meeting. It will start capturing right from this place onwards. And similarly, escape defects. And then we also started capturing discard. Now we all know the rejected bugs, right? We all know the canceled bugs or the rejected stories, right? Most of their work reaches up to 70% here, and then they get a request from the leadership that the customer is no more looking for this. We wanted to track how many such times these things are happening, because the answer is very simple. These are the engineers and doctors that we are talking here, right? If they started spending their time, the 2 weeks time in making that particular powder, right, which is manufacturing. If you reject it, it's good for nothing. You just have to throw it out. Now you spent almost 1.5 weeks doing something for one request. How many such shipment we are canceling? How many such consignments that we are canceling? Let's translate it to numbers, and let's translate these numbers to the dollar value. And let's show it to the leadership team that, guys, you know what? You guys are making some awesome decisions. We trust you, but this is the waste. Let's quantify the waste that is happening. So basically, we are not in this alone. We need the equal participations, equal involvement from you guys as well. Okay. So what has happened in last 45 minutes, right? You recently got joined in an organization, right? Call yourself as a scrum master or a project manager or as someone who they believe that can give some help in Kanban. Because before I joined, they were already working on Kanban. So they wanted a project manager who just understands some sort of Kanban and can support. Why not? That was the business case. That was the problem. When we came in, we realized that, okay, there are certain things are happening, right? And then few rejections. The divisions is about to get closed because we still have only 3 months worth of work demand left. We have to meet, and then after that we have to start closing. And then over a period of time, you did a lot of R&D, you did a lot of retrospective just to understand what is happening. Number one thing from the Kanban perspective, you are not there to propose all the recommendations. You know it, very good, keep it yourself. You just cannot go and talk to doctor that, hey, you know what, this process is absurd and fully wrong. They'll throw you out. We have seen it. It has happened with us. So we wanted to make sure that the change principle 101 that Kanban says that you start with what you have right now. And then over a period of time, you evolve with that so that there should be evidence that is coming from your stakeholders, from your customers, from your project team, and then you start adapting. Okay, now if I just try to show you some more evidences that we have created, which is this. Now I'll just quickly give a highlight here that this particular division, right, this particular synthesis services, this is the only place where most of the work is happening, the one that I'm highlighting within the red box. We started calling it as a delivery Kanban. Delivery means this is the place where engineers, doctors, and project managers, they are working to produce that powder. Now, when the work comes from this line, which you see here, the big fat red dot, we started calling it as a commitment point. Commitment point is a line drawn which says that there is a check that happens. You ask two questions to the leadership team. First of all, did you make a check whether customer really want this request? Number one. Number second, do we have a capacity so that we can try meeting this particular demand? You ask these two questions to leadership, you ask this question to a customer who is at the extreme right hand side. So this is where the real check happens. We don't want to start a work which customer says that we don't want. So that's why these red dots are there for a purpose, right? We usually know more about this in our Kanban system design, which is a 2 days of journey that we go through from Kanban University. Now, this is where I wanted to introduce, there is a course called Kanban System Design, and there is another course which is called Kanban System Improvement. The board that you are seeing right now, that is what the artifact that comes out at the end of KSD class, where you will start knowing about the different practices, the 5 general practices of Kanban. You will be knowing about the different values. You will be knowing about the different 3 change management principles. And then based on those principles, keeping those principles in mind, how you drive the conversation so that you can reach here. You just can't reach here within a 1 week or 2 weeks. You need to produce good number of evidences so that you can reach up to here. Okay, I'll take a pause here. I'm still looking up the time. I'll have a quick glance if there are any questions coming up so that we can have a logical end for this conversation. Okay, Hari has a question. A question, why don't we extend the Kanbanized way of working to the level of value stream so that we can improve the overall process efficiency? Very good question, Hari. So what we did now, what you are seeing right now is the evidence that came out of our first year. Now, if I try to take you towards some evidences that I can show you. Now, look at this thing. Although this will show a very small view, but then I can still try to talk about it. This is the synthesis work, a small Kanban board that you can see. This is the synthesis work. Over a period of time, we have developed a value stream. Towards the left-hand side, you can see this is the part of few other processes, and this is the part of some other processes. Now, what's happening here? This board will not be, okay, let's call it as a board. Now, this board will not be successful if these two boards are doing the sufficient work. So the output of these two boards become an input for this, and the output of this board will eventually become the input for these two. This is our value stream, end to end, so that we can have that process efficiency. Now we are not looking synthesis as a process in silo. Now I don't want to show this because this becomes a part of KSI, Kanban system improvement artifact, right? Because we are scaling it. We are looking the left side of our process. We are looking at the right side of the process. This is where we started tapping business agility. Okay, Hari, you can post a question if you still have a follow-up. In the meantime, I will pick up. Okay, Hari, you are again. How is just-in-time how is just-in-time process linked to the Kanban way of working? Okay, when we talk about the just-in-time, it's almost like a replica. I shouldn't say even replica. This is something when you have a very firm understanding about the process, very firm understanding about the process. You know about the customers, you know about the requirements, you know about your technology. When you know about all those things and you have already delivered a lot many things way in your prior experience, that's where you will always take a benefit. Okay, just in time, right? And then you will only start making when there is a request. Till the time, you will just close your hands and you will say that, okay, there are some optional work which my teams are doing. Just in time comes in a picture when you wanted to, when you already have a very awesome process, but then the request that you get to deliver something on a very unpredictable times, and you make, for example, Tesla cars, they are not making like a manufacturer like fastest in a rapid way. Now they are doing it, but there was a time when they only do when there is an order. For example, Rolls-Royce car, just in time production. You place an order, you have a 7 crores, put it there, you will get a car in 2 months time, right? So based on a certain request, certain demand, you can always leverage just in time. In this particular case, we can't use just in time because the purpose of this division, the portfolio that we wanted, quite frankly, we wanted to make money and we wanted to cut the SLA. We wanted to we wanted to beat the market by not depending on the vendors. That was the core objective why we did that. Just in time, we can't do it because we don't have the skills. We are learning right from the scratch. That was the thing. That's why we don't want it to leverage this production methodology just in time. No, because we are not good in that. Among lead time and cycle time, which is the one that is more important to track? Okay, you are asking me, do I love my left hand or do I love my right hand? Of course, I love my both hands, right? They both have a different purpose. Your cycle time has a specific purpose. Your lead time has a specific purpose. Now, for example, what is the end-to-end cycle time to deliver this webinar? Now, let's say 45 minutes, right? And there was an initial 15 minutes we were waiting. We were chit-chatting, right? So what is the lead time of the webinar? 60 minutes. What is the cycle time? It is a 45 minutes. So usually when you add some lag time, waiting time, that is what your lead time will be. So your actual process time plus waiting time is equal to your lead time. And your cycle time is always your specific. That is the time that you are looking for. It doesn't include any waiting time or something. Hari, let me know if you have any other questions or any other people have any other questions. Am I audible? Hello. Okay, so I have some time. So let me use that time and I can share some more things. In the meantime, I'll also keep an eye on the chat just in case if you guys have any follow-up questions. So, so because we still have almost like 6 minutes in hand. So I wanted to give a very logical ending to what are we talking, right? And few things that that we usually see, right? So look at here, in a nutshell, right? What we have seen so far, and as I have been saying right from the beginning, if I'm saying you means I'm talking to you, right? Like conversation. If you visualize nuts and bolts, you will deliver nuts and bolts, right? It's important that we realize the bigger value. And in our mind, do we have captured that value, right? Is there written down somewhere? Because then it will become, as a kanban professional, it's our utmost responsibility to start showing to our team so that they will see what value we are looking at. You stop showing them the board. Jira board is a way to manage work, right? If there is anything in this world you want to manage value. Okay, what is the second learning? Try to come out from the vicious cycle, right? Try to break the monotony. Try to start thinking from a system thinking purpose, right? Your process is your process, right? But it doesn't mean that the adjacent process is not your process. Sometimes you have to keep an eye on the neighboring process as well. That is the point, so that you come out from that vicious cycle that, oh, I will only enjoy my own process. No. The third learning, uh, as I said, right? If there is anything you want to manage, start managing value, right? Managing utilization, managing capacity, managing number of stickies on the board. That is just a metric, the temporary metric. That is not the business metric that we wanted to capture, right? So as I said, right, if we start asking teams to give velocity, they will give velocity. And we have always done that, right? We have prepared many user stories in Jira and said one story, right? Because my Scrum Master asked me to give velocity, I'm giving velocity, right? So that's why you start asking, shipping the value, you start asking satisfaction, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and then let the team enjoy what they want, what they best they can give, and they can return in an offer. Okay, now, as I said, this is the most important thing. Make sure that there is an end-to-end visualization that you have created, because we all are a professional. We call yourselves Scrum professional, Kanban professional, whatever. It's our responsibility that we give this kind of end-to-end view to our teams. Now, the most important thing I wanted to highlight before we close, the entire the conversation that you have seen, right? These are the artifacts of the Kanban system design course, which is a 2 days course, goes for a 16 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, right? And these are some of the learning objectives. The idea is very simple. We just don't wanted to learn some process and implement it. There is no way. The idea is to highlight, first of all, what is the core problem, right? Core problem. And then we start learning the boards, right? Because as I said, your board tries to tell you so many things. It's just that, are we able to catch that, right? And then we will understand some of the principles. Principles are important, right? We wanted to drive our Kanban implementation with values, not because I'm going to tell you, please run these 3 events and you will run these events. No, we will run some principles, and to have that principle in place, it's up to you what event you want to organize. So it's a full freedom. The understanding core thing is values and principles. Okay, and then if you still have a good appetite and you want to take your implementations to a level of different maturity, that's where the KSI different class comes in picture. Again, it's a 2 days, goes for a 16 hours. And the highlight of this particular improvement is we start this course where we left in KSD, right? So this is the continuation. This is like, the first one is like Bahubali 1, and then second one is like Bahubali 2. Right. So this is where we will talk more about the scaling and optimization. I think the question that asked by Hari is, all those questions are typically get addressed here from the scaling standpoint. How do we want to see the end-to-end optimization? How do we see the blockers? How do we see and where do we see the roadblocks, etc. Okay. I think that's all I have. I will have a quick glance on the chat window if there are any questions. Okay, Hari says WIP limits. Okay, so let me try to, because when we're talking about this quickly, let's see the board. Okay. So Hari, it's a simple WIP limits is basically work in progress limit. So when you see this number 10, at any point in time, I can have maximum number 10 items here. The moment I have only 9 items, there is going to be an empty slot. And this creates a symbol, or this creates a message that, oh, there is a place, let's pull in more work. So when you see these limits, it means at any point in time, these columns can have only up to maximum this much of work. And if you try to onboard more, it will not. It's like a car parking. If it has a space of 10, 10. If it has a space of 9, there is always a board outside the car park that says 1 vacancy, right? That's what the magic is about the WIP limit. Okay. How do we decide WIP limits? Very good. It's a very okay, please, KSD class. But then yes, to answer your question, WIP limit is something that you try based on 2 things. First of all, do you want, okay, ask your customers, Hari, ask your customers, do they want more number of items to be done, or they want that you do it you do 1 item, but you do at a very fast. So the idea is, do you want to manage, do you want to tell your customer that you're working on many number of items, or do you want to tell your customer that you are working on 1 item, but you will be able to deliver with the fastest possible time, right? Look at example of a Starbucks. When you want to go for a coffee, and then there is a Starbucks, there is a barista, you will immediately see that which is the shortest line. Why? Because immediately you have to attend the 9 a.m. conference, right? And you are running short of time. So this is what the WIP does. Now, who you decide that WIP, right? You decide that I want to stand in a shortest queue so that I can get served faster. These are the certain business decisions are taken by the customer so that you decide the WIP limit. Quality will degrade when we work on more items. You are right, but I will not fully stamp on that statement. I want to manage the number of tasks up to a certain level so that I don't degrade the quality. That is where you will meet your WIP limit. If you know working on 10 items at a time degrades your quality, why don't you work on 9 items? If you are still degrading the quality, why don't you work on 8 items? So ask your questions, and then you try to say, are you running behind number of tasks, or you are running behind number of tasks but with the utmost quality? Okay, I see that you got it. Thank you, Hari. Otherwise, I was kept on going. It is an optimal approach. Yes, you got it, right? That's a very nice word. Yes, right. Okay, any other question, guys? Let me stop this, and then okay, where is the, it is important to get a team support and avoid workshop. Yes, yes, absolutely, Margaret. Yes, yes. Now, this is my LinkedIn, just in case if you wish to connect, I'm happy to connect. So any other question, guys? That's it. Vijay, are you there? Just
Hey, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, sure. So Sanjay, I think you are one of the few guys who could finish things in a given time. I would appreciate your effort and your presentation, and your style of presentation was really amazing. Very crisp and to the point. So that was really amazing. So thank you so much. I mostly see that people who can do it crisply and very short time has the best knowledge or consummate knowledge. They can actually put it into small or short words. So I think you're a great trainer or implementer by that means. So thank you so much for doing that. Especially your answering, your style was really amazing, the way you answered. So thank you. We would like to have you again, Sanjay. You really made a lot of sense here. And I knowing the Kanban topic, you taught it really, really well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Vijay. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. I think this is the good time to take a pause and celebrate rest of the Saturday evening
Yeah.
and Saturday morning to the rest of the folks from Canada. So I think all well. Let's stay in touch and we will meet soon.
Sure, Sanjay. We will meet soon.
Thank you, Sanjay. Enjoy the rest of the day and the evening, weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, all.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah,
Bye.
whoever missed or you want to share this presentation to your friends, it would be on our YouTube channel. There were so less people today because of the holidays, but you can actually take benefit of our YouTube channel and it would be live there. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay, once again. See ya. See you next Saturday, same time, same link. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.